Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are currently progressing nicely. I mean, I think our chances of passing Presidential Republic are fairly low now. We'll see what happens on this next roll, but this doesn't actually matter all that much. We can afford to spin our wheels on this a little bit because look at that GDP growth. That's what we want to see. Our GDP per capita is actually number 38 in the world now. That's impressive, actually. I didn't realize it was quite that good. Wow. How's our literacy? 67. So things are going very well for us. Our standard of living definitely could use coming up a little bit, but that's fine for now. That should happen over time as our GDP proliferates, essentially. So we're going to build up some funds for the moment. We can hold up to 520,000 in our gold reserves. No, that was how much we could have as credit. How much can we hold in our gold reserves? 88.1k. So that's a fair amount of money. We don't really need to construct right now because our peasants aren't a big deal at this moment. Debate success here, bringing us back up to this point. Okay, sure. We'll see what happens with Presidential Republic. If we keep going back and forth like this, eventually we'll get a success roll. But also, we're more likely to get a stall roll, which may lead to a setback and cause this to end. We'll see. If that happens, it's not the end of the world. Our GDP sharply dropped. Okay, this is probably to be expected. So that seems reasonably fine. Our number of peasants is 0.42 or 0.19k now. So yeah, we have no peasant issue at this moment. We have enough jobs constructed. So that's understood. Our pop growth, not as high as we'd like. This is due to Ohio. The split state is causing us issues right now. There's not much we can do about that. So that's understood for the moment. We'll just continue going forward here and building up some funds for right now. Now, one thing we could think about putting some of this money into is potentially additional bureaucracy. I don't think we strictly speaking need it, but we could put it into either bureaucracy or a university. A university would be an interesting thing to do. We could get a lot more innovation, and each university would get us 2 innovation. So in order to get this up to full, we would need 157.2 minus 50 for the base. So we need 107.2 overall, which would be like 54 universities. Now that number is actually going to be lower because if we queue this up and build this, say, in Indiana for right now, if we queue that up and look into our buildings here, we should now be able to, in here, we should now be able to change some of this around. So we don't have access to the philosophy department yet, which would be a big, big boost. But this would also increase our qualifications, which would be useful. Let's see, secular academia would probably be a good thing to start with anyway. And I'm thinking right now, to start with, we would simply put, let's see, so how does this work? The qualifications here, is this on a state level? Pops develop the qualifications necessary to change into another profession over time. If their current attributes match those of the profession, or if they currently work in a related field, they will develop qualifications for it sooner. Literacy, wealth, and acceptance status are common deciding factors. There are no universities in Tecumseh. This is per level modifiers. So my question is that modifier on a national level or on a state level? Because if it's on a national level, we should build these all in the same place for economy of scale bonuses, assuming universities qualify for those, which I believe that they do. So we could definitely check in on that. So if we check in, say, in the information here, is there qualifications in here? I know education access is per state. I think it's safe to assume that qualifications probably are because of the social mobility decree. Right? So that's understood. I suspect that this is on a state level. So that means that we should build one level in each to get access to the plus 10% qualifications. And then we can check to see, let's see, this is economy of scale right here. So it caps at level 30. Interesting. So that's reasonably fine. We could build one level of university in each of these locations, and we would probably sort this, and yeah, we want to get these built first. We'd probably sort this by construction efficiency. So this vineyard is so low in its construction efficiency. We want to get that done last, for sure. 19.3, 95, so that goes last. And then 19.7 there. So this would go down something like this. Okay, so that seems reasonably fine. We can start to get those underway, and we can start to get the motor industry built. What is this war? We're fighting Marina Kingdom. I don't care. What is that, Madagascar, I think? Yeah, that's Madagascar. Okay, so that is very, very exciting. We have absolutely no interest whatsoever in that. So completely and totally irrelevant. I like it. So we're going to be short on qualifications for this motor industry, I suspect. And this is going to take us 43 weeks to build. But I still want to get this done eventually here because we're eventually going to fill out the peasants for it. And the qualifications. But we're going to need to get all of these done first. Probably. But I want to get this built, like, the order that I want to do this in is what we have here. So that seems fine for the moment. I'd really like to start working up some of our technological development. We're close to pharmaceuticals, and that will help matters for us a significant amount. So that sounds good. On this presidential republic roll, we'll see what happens. It's not dead yet, but it's not the greatest, so that's understood. There's a vulnerable front over in Niger. Yeah, I don't care. That's absolutely fine. I'm sure Britain's got that under control. So we're going to stop our construction here relatively soon. We still don't want to go into debt. I'll give this one more week here, and then that's going to put us at 2.54. Yeah, we'll give this one more week of construction, and then we'll pause it, which will pay for that first week. And we'll go very, very slightly into debt. So we'll pause it here, and that looks good. How far did we get there? Is that 50%? 48.51. Very close to 50%. Okay, sounds good. So financially, we're doing reasonably okay. Ah, our pop growth has shot up a bit here. This is despite what's going on in Ohio. Interesting. That's very interesting. We're up to... Okay, look at this. Are we getting migration? This must be migration. This is... Hang on. It would make sense that we would have some amount of migration. It's not happening here. Not here. It's in Minnesota. Where's it coming from? Bulgaria. Okay. And from here, it's coming from also Bulgaria in Michigan. Okay, so yeah, we're getting a mass migration from Bulgaria. I didn't notice it pop up here. That's great. We'd be very, very happy to accept them. So that means that we're getting a bunch of peasants, and that of course means that we want to build. That's fantastic. A lot of those peasants will get put to work, and this is going to harm our literacy, which isn't surprising. It's going to take us some time to get caught up, and as long as we're growing at this rate, which isn't going to be forever, looks like it's already potentially tapering off. As long as we're growing at this rate, our situation there is going to continue to dwindle a little bit. We'll need to do some backlog to work on the education. So pharmaceuticals have been unlocked, and that gives us access to some interesting laws. But more importantly, it gives us access to a second level of our health system investment level. We don't have the bureaucracy for that right now. When are our 5% modifiers going to time out? So let's check in on that. That's going to be 19 months. That's a while. Okay. I'm considering building a government administration, but that's potentially expensive. I'm going to hold off on it for now. I think, let's see, are we going to get it? 157, and our base value is 165. So that would be a grand total of 8 bureaucracy? No. Yes. 8 bureaucracy. Okay. That's not fantastic. We need 9. So we're probably going to need to work up our bureaucracy a little bit. Is there anything we can do in production methods here? I don't think so at this time. Yeah, no. So that's not a thing. Understood. And our governmental expenses for this, as you can see, are quite high. So I don't really want to build another one of those for the moment. That will hurt our economy significantly. Shift work would give us economy of scale building level cap. I don't think that's necessary. If we go into society and we took central banking, that would give us additional minting. Okay. Alternatively, there's identification documents here, but that's taxation capacity. We'd want to go down to central planning, which would give us telephone switchboards. That's a long ways away. Egalitarianism wouldn't be terrible. That would give us access to proportional taxation and universal suffrage. So that might be a good option, but I'm going to go for now for central banking. I would like the additional income. So that looks fine. Excellent. So, have we tapered off on our immigration yet? Yes in Michigan, no in Minnesota. Okay, so we're still having migration in Minnesota. This is from Skopje, Northern Thrace. Okay, sure. So a lot of people are moving specifically to Minnesota at this moment. That's fine. You can see our literacy rate dropping here. This is just because it's going to take us time to work through all of these extra people that we got. This has been a big bump in our population. That's very good. We're happy about that. Lot of 8 failure here. Okay, we're continuing to spin these wheels. That's not shocking in the slightest. So at this point, where are we at for our motor industry? We are close to 60% done. We can build for 1 more week, and then we should pause. There we go. So I'm going to pause this week. We managed to get to 59% completion on this motor industry in Wisconsin. Okay, because of these jobs, or rather these peasants in Minnesota, 2.5K there, and then 4.5 in Michigan. I'm thinking about building logging camps in each of those. Like this, to put some of those people to work. Wisconsin doesn't have significant peasants, but we could do something like this, and these would get done relatively quickly. We do it like this to build the logging camps here first, and then we build in Minnesota, and then we'd get back to our motor industry in Wisconsin. I just wasn't expecting a mass migration, and that changes our priorities a bit. No doubt about that. Annual projected pop growth now up over 8K, even with the Ohio devastation, which the Ohio devastation is still building up, I want to point out. So this is up to 80% at this point almost, and that's going to continue going up by quite a lot. Like, there's tons of combat happening over here, and it's creating a lot of problems. I really wish this war would end. These guys are negative, so it's probably going to end eventually. Eventually. We're almost to 500k GDP now. That's looking very, very good. And we're going to want to construct here for a few weeks, certainly. Our income is a fair amount higher with that increased population. I like it. As you can see here, our literacy is still declining. This is because we have new people coming in, and that is great. They're coming in as illiterate people. That's okay. We'll educate them. That's absolutely fine by us. So that looks good, and I'm going to give this 1 more week tick. In fact, on the new year is when I'm going to resume our government construction. There we go. Let's get that going. So that looks good. Is this actually resumed? Maybe. Yes, there we go. So that looks absolutely great. Our construction expenses are down to 1.23k now, and that's a very good sign. So everything is looking good there. Do we have enough to actually straight up construct this logging camp? We might. I think it's going to be not quite enough, but it's going to be close. Our logging camps in Minnesota, we now have bonus to construction efficiency in Minnesota, so that's neat. That's very, very good. We'll get these going eventually, but man, poor Ohio. There's just nothing we can do about it at this point, unfortunately. Keep children off the factory floor. Okay, so that looks fine for now. We'll see what happens with Presidential Republic. With any luck, we'll pass it, but the odds are not in our favor at this juncture, so we will see. Wait a second. We're positive and constructing? Ah, because a private construction of maize farms in Michigan started. That's why. This is now splitting our construction costs and pulling from the investment pool, which is actually still positive. That's good. That's very, very good. So that means that we can construct at this point, but we're constructing at half speed because half of our construction is going over to private. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. So everything's looking good on that front. I'm wondering about our authority here. We might want to consider dropping our consumption tax on coffee. That's not going to change our income very much, and that'll put us positive in our authority. So I think that'll be a good thing to do. That will actually reduce our enactment time a little bit, so that's nice. Bulgarian National Political Movement. Hilarious. Okay. I mean, we did have a bunch of Bulgarians move in, so... Man, look at that. 322k. We are still getting migration in Minnesota? No, we're not. Okay. So it looks like the migration is over at this point. But man, we got a lot. We got like 40,000 people from that. It's like 15% of our populace. That's enormous. And look at our GDP. I like it. We can actually do things. It's great. We'll see what happens with Presidential Republic. It may or may not occur. Doesn't really matter all that much. So the logging camps in Michigan are definitely going to finish now. And I want to check in on how the peasant count there is. 9k, 3k in Minnesota, none in Wisconsin at this point, none in Illinois, none in Indiana, and none in Ohio. So really, the only places with peasants right now is Michigan and Minnesota. We're building 2 constructions in Michigan right now, and we got another law debate success. We'll see what happens on this next one. Spinning our wheels here is completely fine. So 3 weeks on our logging camp in Michigan at this point, and this maize farm is going to finish up eventually. 2 private constructions in the queue. Hang on. A logging camp in Wisconsin as well. Okay, that's neat. I'm glad to see some of those private constructions coming through. So we're finishing up our logging camp in Michigan right now. That is done as of this moment. Excellent. And now we're building our logging camp in Minnesota. So we're going to see the number of peasants in Michigan go down, although it's currently 10k. But these guys are going to start working in the logging camps eventually. Yeah, this is definitely hiring in significantly. The maize farms are struggling a little bit. No doubt about that. What about production methods for maize farms? Can we do anything with that? The answer is not in here. Interesting. But we can here. I mean, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. Did I just miss it in here? Yes, I did. It's right here. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. We're getting close to 600k GDP now. I want to point that out. This has been a meteoric rise at this point. Our literacy is still down, but as you can see, it has stopped going down and started slowly climbing. Very slowly, but that's fine for now. So this is looking good for the moment, and we're going to have this private construction finish up very shortly. And there's also going to be this logging camp in Wisconsin, which there aren't really workers here, but, well, there are workers, but it would pull from other locations. That's fine for the moment. We have pop growth of 1.55 or 1.15k annually, so eventually we'll grow into it. It'll take like 5 years. That's okay. And maybe with job openings, we'll get a migration. You never know. So we're making money at this point while constructing, but this is because of our private construction. We will see if more private constructions get queued up. There's an additional one in the queue. Another logging camp in Wisconsin. Okay, so that's absolutely noted. For the moment, I'm completely fine with this. What this means is I actually want to build a government administration in Indiana, and we're going to do that after this logging camp in Minnesota. I want to get this done first because I want to get these peasants put to work. So that'll be fine. What was the Bulgarian community here? Almost 50k Bulgarian pops living in Minnesota. And then there's another 50k living in Michigan. That was a big mass migration. I love it. That's great. So we're starting to work our way back up on the literacy. We were at like 56. Actually, I think this is saying what we were before, 58.2. So it's going to take us some time to educate all those Bulgarians. That's okay. We don't mind that. That's completely and totally fine. So let's get these logging camps constructed, and once those are done, we're going to get this government administration done because we need more bureaucracy. That is very, very obvious. So we'll get that completed, and I'm actually thinking about building another construction sector. The only problem is we know that it will be problematic at this point if we don't have another private construction going, right? If we don't have a private construction going, we'll have issues. But I'm strongly considering it. It'll be expensive. Let's let our money build up for a little bit here. And I'm going to wait to build it for just a little while. Maybe once our motor industry is built. Something along those lines. Or if we start having another big, like, cash influx of some sort. Well, we're about to roll again on Presidential Republic. We've got a 15% chance of passage. There's a better chance of stall. We'll see what happens. Completely RNG over there, and that's fine. So, yeah, our GDP is definitely a whole lot better than it was. That's looking good. And our populace, we're now growing at almost 10K annually. That's enormous. And we're still being pulled down by Ohio. I want to point that out. So, that's exciting. Although, looks like the U.S. has ended their war, so Ohio is going to be working its way down on the devastation now. Daily change of 0.1 is pretty decent, actually. So, we passed Presidential Republic. That was a little bit surprising. I actually expected that to fail, but sure, we're a presidential republic now, specifically a presidential oligarchy. And this isn't ideal. We want to change our election type. So distribution of power over to either wealth voting or census suffrage. We would prefer universal, but this is not ideal. I'm wondering what our ideal government would look like right now. This would be getting the modernists out of the government. If we did that, would we be capable of doing this? The modernists are supporting wealth voting, and the rural folk are supporting census suffrage. That's interesting. Wait, they aren't? Two interest groups, the rural folk and the modernists, support this law. This will radicalize the rural folk. What? They support the law, but they'll radicalize over it? Okay, that's odd. Rural folk being rural folk, I guess. Sure. Let's give it a go. Odds on it are kinda low, but we'll see what happens with it. So for the moment, we are, of course, continuing to work on our constructions here. And that government administration is going to finish up in about 11 weeks. So that will give us enough bureaucracy to get our additional health institution, which is very, very good. We would be delighted by that. Why are we not gaining recognition right now? GDP per capita and standard of living is too low? Fair enough. Our GDP per capita has dropped a little bit, and that's because of the influx of Bulgarians. We're going to take some time to get that going. That's fine. So we need to get these peasants put to work, and that will be a big, big part of it. So we're currently at 8.26K over in Michigan and 3.03K over in Minnesota. We have available jobs for them. They're just not interested in working them right now. So we just need to get them additional jobs, right? Are we hiring in here? We're trying. Okay. What do we got going on here? The petite bourgeoisie are making some demands here. We're going to say no. What a ridiculous thing to say. Cool. So we're going to finish up this government administration, and that's going to tank our income a fair amount. I want to be clear about that. That's absolutely going to be very expensive for us, but I feel like it is necessary at this time. Railways, that's a big deal. Okay, we'll work on getting at least one level of railway in each location eventually. That's going to take some time. So I'm going to put these at the bottom of the pool here, and as we finish those, we can start getting transportation online. That's going to take a long time to get that constructed, and that's understood. It's a low priority at this time. Chemical bleaching is currently spreading, and that sounds good. So government administration is going to finish up this week. And I don't know what all is available in Indiana. We're probably going to take a while to hire this in. Oh, wow, they hired 1,000 immediately. Okay, never mind. Yep, another 1,000. So we're hiring this in very quickly. This is going to eat up our balance here, and that's understood. We're probably going to run a deficit for a little bit because of it, but let's go into our health system here, and let's bump this right on up. That's going to take 50 weeks to do that, and that's understood. So we're about done with working against the system as well. Sure. So yeah, as you can see, we're running a small deficit here. That's completely fine. We do not mind that. So that sounds good. And we're working on this motor industry at this time. It's going to take another 45 weeks. But at this juncture, things are looking pretty okay for us. So we're slowly bringing up our number of literate pops. That looks good. We're building another logging camp in Wisconsin, and there's an additional private construction in the queue. This is a logging camp in Michigan. Okay, cool. So that seems fine. Private constructions are happening now. We've got a good amount of people. We are about to crest the 10K annual pop growth. That looks great. And our GDP has fallen a fair amount, but that's just standard market conditions. I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think there's anything major ongoing with that one. Ohio is in recovery, and overall, I think everything is going pretty well. How's Ohio's population? Is it still dropping? It is. Okay. So the mortality still needs to go down here, but that devastation will tick down over time, and slowly that will improve. Very slowly. So yeah, everything is looking great here. We did cross the 10K threshold for annual projected pop growth, and there's our law enforcement investment going up to 5, so that is also very good for us. At this point, of course, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue our investments, and we'll see what happens on this first census suffrage roll. Again, the odds are very RNG. We'll see. Maybe we get lucky, like we did with Presidential Republic. Never can tell. That is not the button I'm looking for. You can leave the offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.